Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Exponential Potential. Hey Jen, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Claire. Really good. Another lovely topic. Just thinking about this topic actually brings me an immense amount of inner peace and calm and possibility.
Well, as soon as you've introduced it, the topic for today is all around rediscovering your vibrancy and specifically diving deep into the transformative impact of solo retreats for high achieving women. So, kind of, what is it about a solo retreat that really is so powerful, is so impactful? So, today we're going to dive deep into those solo retreats that understand why they're essential for high achieving and purpose driven women, and kind of why, even if you don't acknowledge it, you might be craving some time and space to restore and reset. I know at the minute I get to the weekend and all I want to do is stop, and my to-do list is screaming at me, but my body is saying stop, stop, stop. So we're going to be diving into that and discovering how, taking time away, perhaps, in a kind of serene environment, perhaps Italy, no hints, but how that can lead to a more sustainable, fulfilling success with balance, freedom, and joy. And, like many listeners, I can imagine that your Facebook feed is full of retreats and they look absolutely beautiful just as weekends away, but they've got much longer term benefits and much longer term, much longer lasting outcomes of these retreats. So they, are really quite curious about how they can be so powerful in transforming and elevating life, career, and relationships. Yeah. So hey, it is a juicy one, especially this time of year. And if you haven't booked any holidays yet, this is your reminder.
And holidays, I mean, for me, when I think about retreat, there's so many elements to it. But one of the elements is it's the holiday that keeps on giving. It sounds a bit cliche, but it truly does. It is such a transformative, beautiful, life-changing experience, something that you just can imagine, but it just goes beyond what you can imagine that a retreat is.
So come on, let's start. Let's not hold back anymore. In your view, we've mentioned high achieving women, but who are solo retreats for, and why are they so crucial?
I think solo retreats, there's so many different levels and so many different topics around retreats. I'm specifically talking about a solo retreat, which is even, it's group retreats and solo retreats are both very powerful, but a solo retreat is a different type of powerful, in that you're there with one person. So you have my undivided attention and guidance, and the whole retreat is built on your personal needs, your goals, your aspirations, your dreams. It basically can be anything you want it to be, to resolve any problem or challenge that you have. So in terms of who are they for, it's for anybody that wants, one, in the simplest terms, to get away, to relax, to restore, to reset, to rejuvenate. And there are yoga retreats, and there are book writing retreats, and there are leadership retreats. There are all sorts of retreats that you can do. So it's for anyone, for men and women or couples, for anyone that really wants to experience something different, wants to tap into what really matters to them, what's most important to them. It gives them the opportunity to really just let go of the day-to-day life, of the pressures and the stresses and the, as you said earlier, the to-do list that never gets any shorter. And also I find with a retreat, even when you're on holiday, and I'm sure you notice this, Claire, but when you're on holiday, you still get distracted, you still get pulled into the job. You're still potentially replying or reading emails, you're still looking at your phone, you're still connected to the outside world. And for me, a solo retreat is just to completely get away from everything. So anybody that wants to just step away from their day-to-day life, whether that's finding meaning and purpose, whether that's reconnecting and rediscovering themselves, whether that's connecting into your intuition, if that's going on a yoga retreat, if that's exploring and having incredible experiences that you wouldn't normally have with other people or with your family or with your friends. So it's totally unique to you, and it's created and designed especially for your needs.
I mean, when you talk about when you go on holiday and you don't necessarily switch off, I think particularly if you're going with a partner or with a friend or with your family, you substitute that one role that you have in work for a different role. And you're not necessarily moving any closer to who you really are. You're just flipping from Claire the boss to Claire the mum or Claire the wife. And very often, so many of us carry around so much guilt about juggling and not quite meeting the demands of different parts, that when you do go on holiday, you cram everything in to be the very best mum or wife or partner that you can possibly be, which again is not really that restful.
No, I mean, you're still feeling responsible for everybody else's happiness. Absolutely. And we especially in today's world, there is so much polarity and pressure and stress and demands, and we feel like we're pulled in so many different directions. And as you say, when you go on holiday with your family or friends, you still feel that there's still responsibility, you're still thinking about other people. So when it's a solo retreat, and retreat means to go within, so it can be anywhere in the world. It could even be taking a week away, but you need to get away. It can be anywhere, but you need to get away and not to be interrupted and distracted. So when you're on a solo retreat, you have no responsibility. You have nothing to plan. Don't even have to think about breakfast. There is nothing for you to think about other than allow yourself to let go. And something that I do with my retreats is the pre-retreat calls, so that you can be in a space when you come, we've already done quite a lot of the work, so that you have let go of the guilt and you can be present. But yes, there is nothing for you to think about other than to be present, and this can be hard for people. Put the focus on you and what do you truly want.
So let's unpack that a little bit more. Other than the gift of time and the gift of presence, can you share some of the on retreat benefits that women especially experience?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody, and it is a unique experience, so for everybody it's different. But I know when I've been on retreat, it totally changed my life. It transformed the way I am. It released limiting beliefs. It truly did unlock my potential and possibility. But some of the things that you can expect, some of the immediate benefits that you will feel, and I see it when clients are there, their sense of relief and freedom that they feel. It's beyond anything you can describe, because you've not ever, if you think about when was the last time I actually felt that, where there is no responsibility and it's just just like this massive weight has lifted off their shoulders, because they've gone away. So they've changed their environment as well. You're changing the environment, you're changing the energy. So it's allowing you to be more of who you are and to discover. It's a real self-discovery journey to start discovering who you are. So you're able to, you know, that stress and tension melts away. You relearn how to relax. So they're the sort of the first things that happen. But then it goes much deeper than that as well. You tune into who you are at your very core, at the heart and soul of who you are, your very essence. And that in itself is incredibly powerful. You're able to see things differently because you're away from it all. So you have a whole new perspective, and all the guidance and teachings that I provide are based on experiences. So it's not just, we're not just in a nice, pretty place. We actually go places. One, some of the things that you really love to do, but two, some of the things that actually enable you to embody the teaching, so it stays with you. So for example, there's an ancient woodland that is dedicated to Jupiter. It's a Roman, and there's beech trees in there that are 300, 400 years old. So there's such a powerful, and we'll talk a bit more about the powerful connection with nature. But you gain this sense of space and feel uplifted and re-energized, and you truly do recharge. You know, it's a full recharge your batteries, and it's a perfect time to reflect on you and what you truly want in your life, and who matters the most, what matters the most to you. So yeah, it just, there's space to breathe.
And I think for many listeners, I mean, certainly speaking for myself, that feels such a luxurious thing in a way. It's not something we ever really allow ourselves the real space and time to consider that.
And I think the busier we are, the more we need it. Because if you think about how busy your lives are and what that impact, the consequences of constantly being busy and feeling responsible for everybody, you know, having a high pressure job, or being in a busy, having your own business that takes up a huge amount of time. But to step away from that and to give, it's one of the best gifts you can give yourself, in that it allows you to see things, to step away. It's like, you know, you can't see the wood through the trees. It's allowing you to step away and see the whole picture, instead of getting tied up in the day-to-day, because that's so easy to do. We just get into the day-to-day of it all, and the regular sort of the habits of our day-to-day, the hoi polloi, and we forget, you know, life just takes over. I mean, how many times do you hear that with even just a friend that hasn't spoken to you for years, or not years, but weeks, months, and said, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, I meant to reach out and connect with you, but life's just got in the way. But, you know, in terms of, if you take a step back, it allows you the opportunity to look at your life and look at what's working, what's not working, look at what you've, you know, celebrate you, look at what you've accomplished, and look at where you want to go next, and how you want to be in life. And that is, you know, coaching online is brilliant. And this is kind of an add-in. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to incorporate a coaching program with it as well. But because you're away from it all, whether that's 3 days or 5 days, it just gives you the time to quieten that mind, to stop the busyness and stop worrying about all those responsibilities. And it allows you to feel back into you, if that makes sense. And it brings you a renewed sense of purpose, sense of, you know, more meaning to life. And what is it that will truly bring you fulfillment and joy moving forward in life.
I can imagine the amount of progress that you make. I mean, it just sounds really potent, kind of that distilled and that purity of space. And also what you're describing in terms of the solar retreat is that you're held there, you're supported there. So yes, you might not want to necessarily go to some of the areas, but actually there's a sense of safety that says, let's get in underneath what's going on. Let's maybe look at patterns that are going on. Let's really, be brave. That's not the right word, but let's
well, it is brave.
there
there is bravery involved and courage, and I thank you for bringing that up, because it is a safe place. It's like it's a cocoon of nurturing and support and love, and it brings an opportunity for you to really delve deep and heal those past hurts, the past limiting beliefs that you may have, or that we do all have, those sneaky hidden spots, that we can't see because we're too close to it. So it is a fully immersed experience, and it gives you the opportunity to self-reflect. That it's not all me and you together, or whoever it is you're drawn to, it resonates with, but you have the time to reflect and to go for a walk by yourself, or to go for a swim, or to just sit and look at the incredible, stunning views. It gives you the opportunity to reflect and process the things that you need to process to move, to really fly forward, because that's what happens when it's such an immersive experience. It's for those that want real rapid transformation. So it is ideal for people that don't have time, and it will bring so much clarity and focus and a renewed sense of being.
And you've teased around that kind of reconnection with yourself and with nature. Why is that so important? And sometimes I've heard you say that it even affects you at that soul level. How does it do that?
I mean, we say reconnect. We're never not connected. We're never not connected to who we are, and we're never not connected to nature. We just don't feel it. We just forget that it's there because we're so busy with all the responsibilities and our to-dos and our projects and our families, our children, our partners, our parents, that ever extending to-do list. It doesn't stop. But it's how you manage that. It's how you thrive in all of that. And that's partly what retreat will help you do. It will help you thrive in your regular life. So the connection, as I say, we are of nature. We're not we're not separate. We never have been. We are such an intricate, connected symbiote. We have such an incredible symbiotic relationship. We breathe out what the trees need to live and breathe in, and vice versa. The sun is our life force. So to think that we're separate from nature, we are nature. Of course we are. But one of the things in nature, when you're with it and in it and tuned into the energy of nature, it's in total harmony, balance. Everything has its place, everything full circles. And when we're in that energy and we feel, because you feel the harmony and the rhythm of nature, that is our natural state of being. And that brings you a sense of profound peace. When you allow that to happen, when we do things like forest bathing and sit with a tree, and yes, you can do that at home, but again, when you're away and you're fully immersed in it, it's such a beautiful, incredible feeling. You also feel expansive. There's a sense of anything is possible because you can understand and see the miracles of nature. and the abundance. I mean, I'm looking up quite a lot because there's a woodland right in front of me, so it's really quite beautiful. And there's a woodland behind me as well, and so you just feel that profound sense of peace and calm and tranquility, because you are feeling, allowing yourself the time to really feel your connection with nature, which is in itself total harmony and balance.
It's almost you know, kind of maybe one of the better words is that release. You know, it just feels like you're releasing the responsibility, and we all know, particularly from the northern hemisphere, how it feels when you go to a warmer place. Your body releases all of the stress. It just calms down, and just, you know, and yeah, your body shifts, your breathing shifts, your heart rate shifts. You know, it's really, really quite powerful.
And you can get so present in nature. You know, we really talk about feeling it, seeing it, smelling it, the birds, the colors, the beauty, the sunrises, the sunsets. So it allows you to become really present, and which will stills the mind. So when you're in that space of peace and tranquility and stillness, that then allows you to reconnect to yourself. And when I talk about reconnecting to yourself, it's beyond, as you were saying before, beyond all your identities and your roles that you play in your regular day-to-day life. So it brings you back to, allows you the stillness to feel into who you are. Yeah, go on.
I heard a quote this week. It was a Plato quote, which was around the meaning of life, and the meaning of life is working out your unique gift. That's all the meaning of life is. It's funny, the purpose for life is to live that life, but how many of us really have the opportunity to go that deep, to be that present, to check in with ourselves? You know, very often we're driven in a direction through our belief systems, or through the roles that we play, or, you know, just sheer timetables and
expectations of others, what we should and shouldn't be doing. So when you're on a solo retreat, you strip everything, that's all stripped away, and by it being in that place of peace and presence, you're able to hear your heart and your soul. You're able to, and through good questioning and guidance, we're able to see what your gifts are, understand what your gifts are and your abilities, and what brings you joy, what lights you up, what makes your heart sing. That's
so what triggers people to go, you know what, I need a retreat? You know, kind of it's
a good question. I think it varies. For me, it was around, I wanted to connect more spiritually. I wanted to connect on a deeper level. I wanted to do some self-discovery. And I already knew from what I've seen that I wanted, in fact, my first retreat was here in Italy. That's the first retreat that I came on, and I live here now. And I remember saying I could so live in Italy, and I do. Yay. But it's different. I think for me it was I'd been married twice. So relationships were failed. I had low self-esteem, lacking in confidence, doubting what my path was. You know, what do I do from here? Where do I go? How do I have the life that I want? Or what even is the life that I want? So that kind of is one of the things that drew me, and knowing that the opportunity to get away and have fun, because it's not, you know, there's a lot of fun on retreat. It's not all serious and because we're a bit spiritual or we're going to be really practical. There is a lot of fun and play and laughter in a retreat. So I was drawn to, because I wanted to explore my path and understand what brings me fulfillment and joy. Another reason why people would come is because they feel really stressed out and overwhelmed. You know, you get to a point, a pain point in your life, where there's a, yeah, yes, yeah, you're burnt out, for example. You get to the point where you're completely burnt out. You're like, I have to do something different. So there's some kind of pain point. It could be that you've just had a divorce. There's a lot of recently divorced women go on retreat. But there's also the entrepreneurs or the leaders that want to go on retreat because they want to be clearer on their goals or create a plan of how to get there, or they want to create a new mindset, or they want to create more balance in life because they know what they're doing isn't working, although they want to be successful in their business or their career, but they know the way they're going right now, they're going to be either burnt out or have a nervous breakdown. So yeah, it's usually high stress levels, a big change in life, a big pain point, or a sense of knowing in your heart that there's something more for you and you want to discover what that is.
And it seems like such a personal journey for every individual that goes. So, can you describe any long-term outcomes that women have in common once they've been to a solo retreat?
Yes. So I have a client that recently was on solo retreat with me, and she was in a place of struggling in her marriage. She wanted to make a big move, like continent move. She wasn't sure whether she wanted to stay with her husband or not. And she was just being split. She's got children where she is now, but she grew up in the UK and she wanted to move back to the UK. And there were so many, what she saw as obstacles. So she needed some real clarity, understanding whether the decisions she was making were the right decisions. And she needed to overcome the worry and the fears around her children, because the children are grown up, but children still, no matter how old they are, they still have their problems and their dramas. So there was a lot of things that she was putting in the way. But the long term, so we helped her with that on the retreat, helped her release all the worry and the fear, and put a plan together of what her step-by-step process would be. So now she's in the UK, she's moved, she has a business, she's now in a better place to navigate any of the challenges she has with her children that are on another continent. So she no longer worries about them. She understands that they have their own path, but also that she can be there to support them from a distance. And of course, they can come over and visit. So she's able to let go of the things that were stopping her in the beginning. And she continues to do that through her business and through other opportunities in the UK. She's a lot calmer. She doesn't feel anxious anymore. And she knows what to do when she feels herself going into a little bit of overwhelm. So she's much happier and feeling much more fulfilled, not just because she's left where she was, but also because she has the tools to keep her in that space of feeling fulfilled and joyful and knowing what to do when she faces challenges and when she has a day of emotional release. So yeah, she's in a much better place and she's incredibly thankful for it. And she feels that she's in life is really good for her, even though, the struggles that she has with her family and her husband, she's still feeling whole.
Yeah.
She's feeling like she's enough.
Yeah.
She's feeling like she doesn't have to prove herself anymore or look for validation. So there's a lot of elements in that.
I mean, that in itself is hugely powerful, nay, dangerous. A woman who knows her mind is a dangerous one. But what strikes me is if you followed other conventional routes, for example, if you were being coached through that, or going through therapy in relation to that, you could be stuck in that situation for a year or more, depending
years.
on, yeah. And
Yeah.
then kind of just losing the time and losing the opportunity, and much of what you've described is, you know, kind of the obstacles that we put up and the obstacles that we build up even further and further, and each time we do that we give away our power.
Yeah, and that, yeah, she stopped feeling like a victim to her circumstances, and took charge and is a victor. You know, she feels empowered, and that's, you know, all my clients have that. And you're right about being stuck. You could be stuck in a relationship, or being stuck somewhere where you don't want to live, or being stuck in a job for years. And just when this, you know, and the years do slip by.
Yeah.
So having the opportunity to have that one-to-one guidance away from everything, it really does allow you to gain clarity like you couldn't if you were still in the situation.
Yeah. And you described the fact that your first retreat was in Italy, and now you're in Italy offering retreats. You know, kind of why do you think that Italy is particularly beneficial?
It is. So where I am particularly, I mean, there's all areas of Italy that are absolutely stunning. It still fit. So where I am and where I would choose to do a retreat, I might not always choose to do it here where I am, but where I choose to do a retreat will always be a rural, tranquil location. And where I am is between the mountains and the sea. Well, we live next to a mountain. The sea is 30-minute drive. And a big part of it is, it feels like we are 100 years gone, the past, I should say. It feels like where we are, we're still living, but a lot of rural Italy feels like we're still 100 years ago. I mean, yes, there's shops and everything else, and it's beautiful, but the energy of it is a much slower pace.
Yeah.
The connection they have to nature and the cycles, you know, the farming that goes on around in rural Italy, the love for food here, the abundance of nature, the climate is beautiful for the most part. We're very lucky to be where we are. Well, not lucky, we chose it. And the mountain that is full of myth and legend. So as I was saying, we've got, you know, there's ancient medieval villages and towns which have a unique energy. There's all these beautiful sites, like the beech forest that's 400 years old, that was I can't think of the word now, it's gone, but was not given, but was dedicated to Jupiter. Some of the churches and cathedrals and temples, the churches and cathedrals here are dedicated to Venus, so to the old gods and the goddesses. So, and one of the mythical legends here is around the mountain here, and the mountain that we can see that looks, you know, that's kind of, so there are mountains behind us, and then there's another mountain, and it's one of the goddesses that came here to save her son, couldn't save her son, so her son is the mountains over there, and she lay down here to die. It's very dramatic, to look, so she can always look at her son. So there's such a sense of love, and there's so many different legends, like where I live is the Maiella mountain range, or the Maiella National Park. Maya being Mother Earth. The mountain is Monte Amore, so mountain of love. And one of the legends is that there's the water, that there's a beautiful river and springs that come down, and because the ground is so chalky and white, it's mother's milk. So they're really connected to nature here. Really, even though, you know, there's a lot of Catholicism, but a lot of the Catholicism is based on, it comes from their previous rituals and their previous connection to Mother Earth.
When you're saying kind of it's 100 years behind, as it were, it feels like it's 100 years ahead in terms of the wisdom that's there. That's, you know, from what you're describing, that's how you would pick up that energy.
Yes, yeah, the wisdom and the knowledge of the land and of nature. Yes, that's a good point, actually. There is a sense of wisdom here, and love and family. Every corner you turn when you're driving here is a breathless view. So that's another, the beauty here is outstanding, and there's so many different experiences to have that just bring that beauty. And it reminds, when you're in this beautiful, and it's all free, you know, all this beauty that we look at every day is completely free. So it allows for a whole shift in perspective. It's the energy and the nature and the tranquility. I mean, yeah, we get tractors and things going past, but it's the slow pace, the expressions of the Italians, the way they express themselves and use their hands, and their obvious passion for food. That, you know, you get grown men in bars talking and arguing about whose mama or whose recipe is the best. And they don't, the other thing is, they don't care about what you do. There's none of that pretense about what car do you drive, what house do you live in, what do you do for work. There's none of that keeping up with the Joneses attitude. There's no, it's just a really simplistic, peaceful, tranquil environment to be in. And it's the perfect environment to be in to retreat.
I was going to say, do you think that's what makes your retreats so unique?
It's one of the reasons. The locations are one of the reasons. You know, the love and warmth of the people, the history, the culture, the myths, mythology and legends, and the sheer beauty. But the other things that make my retreats unique is the magical blend of what I can offer people. You know, from really practical ways and practical tools and techniques and guidance to, you know, shifting perspective, to science-backed neuroscience and how to rewire the brain, to more metaphysical, spiritual elements and rituals, you know, whether that be a moon ceremony or a fire ceremony, whether that be a shamanic smudging, healing, you know, energy work, crystals, chakra balancing, to really profound guidance and coaching based on language and psychology. So it's a real, and then there's also movement and somatic healing. So there's so many elements that I can design and create, especially for who is coming on retreat with me, to suit their needs, to suit what they want. So it's very organic, and every retreat is unique to that person's needs and wants.
It's, yeah, it sounds, and I make no apology for using this word, but it does sound divine, truly divine, and just being able to connect there.
And actually, thank you for reminding me, because one of the reasons we were talking about Maya, and one of the things that I talk a lot about women with self-discovery, is connecting to their divine feminine power. And what better place to do divine feminine power when you're in the center, what feels like the center of Mother Earth. you know. So yeah, there's just such an incredible blend of the different elements and things that I can bring in, you know, yoga, massage, through to profound transformational guidance and coaching. So whatever it is that you learn on retreat, you take with you in your day-to-day lives. And the other thing I offer, as I mentioned before, is there's pre-retreat calls and post-retreat calls. So I don't just come on retreat, off you go, thank you, bye, thank you very much. There's follow-up after that retreat to continue to support you and what you need.
Yeah, it sounds like a phenomenal offer indeed. And yeah, I think because this topic is very much around solo retreats and encouraging women to step back and release the identities and the burdens and the dramas and the everything else. What final piece of advice would you give to anyone who you think is on the fence, on the border about booking, or wants to create some elements themselves?
Yeah, I would ask myself the questions: what happens if I stay where I am? You know, if I don't make the time for myself, what happens to me? What happens to my career, my job, my well-being? Now, I've got 20 years experience of taking care of women's well-being. So you're in good hands for sure. But what would happen? What would it mean to you to just stay where you are? What more problems and pain would you face? Versus, what would you gain from coming? You know, what would your life look like if you were able to release those limiting beliefs and patterns, if you were able to connect to who you truly were, and you were able to ignite your vibrancy so that you can truly, I know people talk about thriving all the time, but you can truly, this is an amazing place for you to begin to flourish and thrive. It's an amazing start for that, you know, for you to sort of catapult yourself into the stratosphere around that. So you look at why would you come? Why wouldn't you? Forgot, you know, why wouldn't you? So and get on the phone to me and just talk to me. Let's have a conversation, and see if it is for you. See if it might, you know, it might not be right for you at this time, or it might be something else that you're looking for. But you have nothing to lose by phoning, you know, by connecting with me and us getting on a call and having a conversation about what it is you're looking for. I'd love to hear from people.
So we'll make sure that we've got the links within the episode description, but do you want to give a quick shout out to how people can find you?
Yes, you could send me an email, jennifer@thezengen.com. That's probably the best way to connect with me. I will put my WhatsApp number as well, so you can message me via WhatsApp. The best way would be jennifer@thezengen.com.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And I'm just going back throughout our conversation, and if you are seeing those hints on Facebook that, you know, the retreats are there, or, you know, if you're looking ahead and thinking, crikey, I'm not sure I can handle 6 weeks with the kids, now's a really good chance to set an intentional time for you to explore this topic for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It sounds like in that short, that 3 days in the space of a year, that's absolutely nothing really, is it?
No.
And you can always make arrangements around that. That's not tricky either. But it just sounds like it's such an impactful way to reset and then, use the energy well going forward. So who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yes, call me, message me, find out more. And they can, my link, thezengen.com, my website has more information on solo retreats and group retreats. So, and you can find out a little bit more about me there as well. And of course, continue listening to the Exponential Potential podcast, because this month is all about retreats.
yeah, whether those are corporate retreats or solo retreats, or how you can build in aspects of retreats in your day to day, particularly with technology. So we're really deep diving into this topic this month. Yeah, just to encourage you to deep dive into you. So
Yes.
if you have liked the episode today, please do share. Indeed, if you've got a friend who you think needs to go on a retreat, send them this episode. It'll be enough of a nag. Just send them, and they'll get to the end and realize why you did send them this way. But it's all we love. It's been so gorgeous to see you, Jen. It's gorgeous to see you, listeners, and I hope to see you again really soon on Exponential Potential.
Bye.